Space has been the subject of fascination since the dawn of mankind, and now, thanks to advances in rocket propulsion, access to it is opening up more and more. But how does rocket propulsion work, exactly?
The term rocket science is often used to describe something super complex, but really, it's just concepts from thermodynamics, mechanics, and chemistry put together.
Rocket engines use Newton's third law to push the rocket forward. This law says that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if I throw mass one direction, I'll move the opposite one. Thrust is the force or action that drives the rocket. We get it by ejecting mass at high speeds from the back of the vehicle. To generate it, two substances, a fuel and an oxidizer, react in an enclosed area called the combustion chamber to create hot gases. These gases can reach temperatures of upwards of 3000 degrees Celsius and pressures up to 80 atmospheres. So now, we need to transform all of that thermal energy into kinetic energy. The thermal energy is stored in the movement of the molecules of gas, because as you may know, the hotter molecules are, the faster they bounce around. So looking at it that way, we already have kinetic energy, it's just very unorganized. We simply need to direct it all in one direction, so the biggest possible portion of that movement is oriented towards the back of the rocket, to get the biggest possible thrust. That's being done by using most typically a Delaval or converging diverging nozzle. It's that bell-shaped part that makes rocket engines so easily recognizable. It first tightens the flow to accelerate it to the speed of sound.
We need to do that because a subsonic flow and a supersonic flow don't behave the same way. So now that the flow is supersonic, you actually have to expand it to accelerate.
And that's what this part does. But there's a limit to how much you can accelerate your flow, because as it accelerates, it loses pressure. And if the exhaust gases have less pressure than the ambient air, it pulls the rocket backwards a bit. So the maximum you can accelerate your flow really depends on the pressure difference between the combustion chamber and the ambient air.
But how do you make a good rocket engine? Well, the most sought after characteristic in rocket engines is efficiency of thrust per unit mass of propellant. Because if you want your rocket to fly fast, it must have a low total mass, but still a very high thrust. This efficiency can be described by a parameter called specific impulse, which can be calculated by this equation.
In these times, life can be a little boring, so that's why it's important to have things to look forward to. And I think space exploration is one of them, don't you?